This is the bike frame video, part 9. For this video, I want to talk about a small problem that can occur when using the master model technique that we employed for this project. As you know, we first built a master model that contained all of the various frame tubes. Then we inserted that model into new parts and deleted the bodies we didn't want. For example, this is the top tube part file with the master file inserted as the first step. And the third step of this was to delete any of the unneeded tubes in order to be left with just the top tube. This can lead to a little bit of a problem. If we go back to the master model and open the solid bodies folder, we see that each body has a name appended to it. The name of that body is determined by the last feature that was applied to that particular body. So we see the bottom bracket shell has the name bottom bracket shell because that only has one feature, and that feature was named bottom bracket shell. The head tube is called the head tube. That only had one feature called head tube. But if we go to the seat tube, we see the seat tube is actually called the seat tube slot. If we look in the feature tree, we see that the seat tube has two features, the seat tube and then a second feature applied to it called the seat tube slot. That gives us the name of the body in the bodies folder. Now let's go back to our top tube. I've rolled the top tube back to step 1, which is the insertion of the master file, and we see that the solid bodies folder for the top tube has the same names applied to the bodies as the names that came from the master file. So here we see bottom bracket shell, head tube, seat tube slot, and the rest of the bodies. For reasons I don't understand, these are not quite in the same order as they were in the master file, but they're all there. Now let's go down to the feature that deleted the bodies that we didn't want in order to be left with just the top tube. If I edit that feature, I see the bodies to delete box, the names of all the bodies that I'm getting rid of. That includes the entire frame except for the top tube. Now this is where the problem occurs. This delete bodies feature is identifying the bodies to delete by the names that have been given to them. What would happen to this feature if these names of these bodies were to change for some reason? So let's go back to our master file and find out. I'm going to perform a little experiment on our down tube. If we open up the solid bodies folder, we see that the down tube is actually called bottle cage bosses because that was the last feature added to the down tube body. I'm going to delete that feature. And now let's see what effect that has on our bike frame. Now we see the problem that this video is addressing. We see that just about every single part in the assembly has an error with the exception of the left side parts that were mirror images of the right side parts. So what caused this? Let's go back to our top tube. And we see that the top tube isn't just a top tube, but it's the entire frame. And if we look in the feature tree, we see step 3, the delete unneeded tubes feature is an error. If we edit that feature, we see that all the tubes are highlighted to be deleted except for the top tube, which is correct, but the down tube is no longer highlighted like it should be. This is because the delete bodies feature has lost the reference to the down tube simply because the body name is now different. Fortunately, it is easy to fix this error. All you have to do is edit the delete bodies feature that has the error and just reselect the body that was causing the problem. In this case, it was the down tube. So I will just re-highlight the down tube, click the check mark, and now we see the error is gone and the top tube looks the way it's supposed to look. Unfortunately, you are going to have to do this with all the other parts that have an error, which makes this a little bit of a pain, but it takes only about 10 seconds to fix each part, meaning you can have this all repaired in 1 to 2 minutes. So if the delete bodies feature in the part files is relying on the name of the body to identify it, we would think that if we added a new feature to the body, such as a cut into our down tube, that is going to create an error also if that new feature is the last feature applied to the body. So let's try that out. On the front plane, I will make a sketch, and I'll just do something simple like making a hole in the down tube. Extruded cut through both directions, and I will apply this only to the down tube. So now if we go to our bodies folder, you see that the down tube is identified as cut extrude 1. So that should cause the same sort of error, right? Going back to our assembly, we see the hole in the down tube, but no errors in the feature tree. Well, that's pretty strange. Maybe if we go back now and delete this hole, which was now newly identifying the down tube, maybe that will cause the error. So let's go back to the master model again and delete this hole that we just created. So surely this will cause the error. And going back to our assembly, we see the hole is gone, but again, no errors. So what's going on? Why isn't this causing an error? I think I know the reason why. The reason seems to be that if you delete a feature from the master model that was in the master model when it was first inserted into a new part, that will cause the error. If you delete a feature from the master model that was added to the master model after the master model was added to the new part, that will not cause an error. Another thing that will not cause an error is renaming a feature. So if we go into the seat post, for example, and rename the last feature applied to the seat post, which is the seat post slot, and we go back to the assembly, no error has occurred. So I hope this error does not occur to you while you are making your bike frame, but if it does, you know what to do about it. Just go into each part that is showing the error, edit the delete bodies feature, and reselect the body that was creating the problem in the first place. And that gets rid of the error. This finally is the conclusion of all the bicycle frame videos.